thought the moon looked pretty. Shine down through the trees. I can see my baby.
Since the things reported of UFOs not only sound incredible, but seem to fly in the face of all our basic assumptions about the physical world, it is very natural that one's first reaction should be the negative one of outright rejection. Surely we say it's nothing but illusions, fantasies, and lies. People who report such stuff, chiefly airline pilots and ground staff, well, they cannot be quite right in the head. What is worse, most of these stories come from America, the land of superlatives and science fiction. Now, in order to meet this natural reaction, we shall begin by considering the UFO reports simply as rumors, i.e. as psychic products, and shall draw from this all the conclusions that are warranted by an analytical method of procedure. So, regarded in this light, the UFO reports may seem to the skeptical mind to be rather like a story that is told all over the world, but differs from an ordinary rumor in that it is expressed in the form of visions, or perhaps owed its existence to them in the first place and is now kept alive by them. I would call this comparatively rare variation a visionary rumor. It's closely akin to the collective visions of, say, the Crusaders during the siege of Jerusalem, the troops at Mons in the First World War, or the faithful followers of the Pope at Fatima, Portugal, etc.
Have you read much Jung ever?
I read a little. I read a little bit, but not much. But the I Ching thing, some UFO stuff. And
it's amazing that the UFO.
Yeah,
great.
Yeah,
The UFO
yeah.
thing is amazing.
He was one of the first to engage with that, and people are still can't get away from his idea about that, which is that it's almost like a group hallucination.
Yeah, no. A lot of that stuff makes
people are still riding that.
All of that, but Bigfoot, all that stuff. I mean, it actually is the thing that makes the most sense to me.
He did not write an essay on Bigfoot.
I know he didn't, but I'm just saying that applied to those things, it makes sense. Here's my thing. See if you agree with this. If Freud is the Conan Doyle of psychoanalysis, Jung is the Sax Rohmer of psychoanalysis.
Jesus. Yeah, okay.
It's like trippier and
he's
weird.
Definitely the cheesier one. Also, I think Freud was really pissed because he stopped thinking it was in the unconscious. I don't know. He thought these archetypes were reality. You know who was really into it was Philip K. Dick.
I think he's amazing, and it's like I actually think he's
like that stuff in Perky Pat layouts. That whole book is, I think, very young.
Right,
he was reading
a lot
young.
of stuff, and that seems like Have you heard the whole story about when Freud and Jung were like having their when they split?
Yeah, you told me that story. I asked the lady about that. Tell the story again.
Well, it's that they finally had a confrontation, I think, after having this kind of long distance animosity, and they got together, and it was this whole kind of father-son Oedipal, and Freud was just like, you must murder me. That's what's happening here. You feel the need to kill me. And, and Jung was just like, they hated each other. They came to this, and they were having some argument in, maybe it was Freud's study or something like that. And Jung was getting more and more fucking worked up, in these books, this whole shelf of books burst into flames.
Well, come on.
Exploded. All these books exploded.
Explanations 1. It is murder, but the victim is impelled to kill himself or crash into an accidental death. This may be by the effect of a haunted room, by suggestion, or more usually by a gas introduced from outside the room. The most thoroughly satisfying solution of this type of plot, which includes a murderer, is in Gaston Leroux's The Mystery of the Yellow Room, the best detective tale ever written.
Weird how it's all tied into the locked room too, because the psychoanalyst, the room they're in, that's
Totally.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's why I was thinking about like John Dickson Carr and stuff like that. There's something really sinister about those books. And like
John Dickson Carr, since we've talked, it's been a long time since we've had one of these talks, but I've been reading a lot of Dickson Carr, and at first I thought it was a bit ridiculous and old-fashioned, but then I grew to sort of crave it more and more, and then I found some really good ones that are different.
They definitely like satisfy a very particular thing. Like it's like nothing else quite does it. But some of them actually do attempt to kind of deal with more like sexual. That's a great one.
It's one of the best ones.
Is it a good one?
Yeah, that I read, one of the best.
I just read this one that was not any of the famous detectives in it. And there was this kind of sinister... It was really good.
How many detectives does the guy have?
I don't even know if he ever wrote it.
He has 4 of them.
Does he? He's got...
No, Agatha Christie has how many? She has like 4.
She's got...
At least, yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, she's got like... I read these weird ones with her, these short stories with this character called like Harlequin or something.
Really? I don't know.
Really weird. And it was like this kind of trickster, master disguise detective. They were really odd.
Isn't there a couple, like this young couple? Like...
No, I've never read any of those. Those are
I haven't read those. What are those?
Tuppence or something.
Oh yeah, Tommy and Tuppence. I think I read one, and I started and I got so alienated by their names I couldn't handle it.
Yeah, the John Dickson Carrs they're fucking weirdly sinister, and like and he does try. They get more like kind of dark about like sexuality and stuff.
Yeah, they're pretty funny that way. The way they're so, I don't know, they're so sexually open in a way. They don't say it out loud, but they're just like people are just like having crazy affairs and stuff.
In a weird way, they kind of are more so than most of them.
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
it's like, and he sort of delves into them in a different way, even than like Agatha Christie does.
He's more. I agree. Yeah,
it's really strange. Yeah. They're really weird. I don't know what
people are really. They're in a way they're more. I wouldn't say they're more like hers. They're really sort of just bastards to people. Yeah. But in him, they're like kind of like almost like pulp characters, like desperate, kind of like on the edge. But there are lots of characters, so it gets a bit bewildering, and some of them are quite stock, and then there's always like 3 guys hanging around the detective, who are like mini detectives. It's always so confusing.
Yeah, they're very strange. They're really particular. They're really, really odd. Yeah. And you made a point about like the Gideon Fell ones are actually weirder and actually kind of more difficult to read or something.
Yeah, I had a harder time.
Yeah,
it's the Merivale. It's H, which is he's an odd bird. They call him HM.
Yeah.
What is that? Is his name Henry Merivale?
Henry Merivale.
Yeah. But it's just, is that like Her Majesty, His Majesty? I don't know.
Maybe that's the joke too, like.
But he's always like this sculptural presence.
He's supposed to be. Apparently, I think it's supposed to be sort of like Churchill.
Okay.
Supposed to be based on Churchill.
So then it is like His Majesty.
Yeah, and it's like, and he's this kind of, and he's supposed to be like the head of like MI6 or something, right?
Is he? I haven't gotten there. I mean, there's this long series, I think. I have only read a couple, and I think there's late ones.
I've only read a couple too.
Yeah, but I like them.
He's supposed to be some intelligence guru. He's in the
Really? I didn't get to that, but I have this one on deck.
Look at that copy. That's awesome. That's a nice one. Well, what is that? The key going into the gun?
Yeah.
Let me see again.
But the gun is a painting of a woman.
Looks like the woman's about to fillet the key. I gotta be honest with you.
It really does. Or she just, I don't know. Lucky she died right then, so she could be a lady.
Yeah, his stuff is. But the other thing, I mean, I always try to like, and this is like, I think of Raymond Roussel too. It's like those books are so weird because it's like, it's that thing of where the logic of it becomes almost more fantastical than the crime. You know what I mean? I can't
This one
articulate it. It's so weird.
This one I tried. First of all, they're disorienting as hell. Yeah. They're really hard to concentrate on what exactly is going on. So you're always in this sort of, everything's really mapped out, but you're always lost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, what the hell? Like, there's maps exactly everywhere, right. But you don't know where the fuck you're standing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I always find the beginning and the end are clear, and then there's this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? It's almost like it's all like molten and like starts just like, or like you say, it's like a labyrinth. It's really weird, the middle parts of them.
2. It is murder, but the victim is impelled to kill himself or crash into an accidental death. This may be by the effect of a haunted room, by suggestion, or more usually by a gas introduced from outside the room. This gas, a poison, makes the victim go berserk, smash up the room as though there had been a struggle, and die of a knife slash inflicted on himself.
That's when I tried to concentrate and just to figure out what's going on. But I noticed that you basically dazzled each chapter with a freak incident, not just the one locked room.
Yes.
There's always a locked room where the body's dead and there's no fucking way.
Yeah.
But there's also like peacock feathers from Uruguay that happen to be like, I don't know, there's like 20 each chapter. You're and by the end,
right,
those get kept in this one. It was really cool because those kind of got taken care of, and then the murder, and then the last final thing was the locked room, and it was over. They solved why the room was locked.
They're incredible. There's nothing.
And it was just like, wow, that was cool. Like all these mysteries.
Some of them I've read, they don't quite have that.
Yeah, they're hard to pull off. I think,
click, but when they do, it's like they're the most fucking.
This one was crystalline. It was just.
When they click like that, you're just like, oh my.
But also quite sexual. This one. And,
it
was surprising, and
modern. The one I just read was weird because it wasn't any of those detectives. It wasn't a locked room either.
And what's it called?
It was called The Emperor's Snuff Box.
Oh, The Emperor's Snuff Box. That's a famous one, I think.
Yeah, and it was really good. But the weird thing is it's the only one where I actually kind of figured it out. I didn't figure it out entirely, but so it was odd. I was kind of like, this one's sort of easier, but it was really good. And the sexual stuff in it was really, there's a whole kind of like weird rapey thing in the beginning of it that was just like, Jesus. It was like, so it was like, yeah, there's something, I don't know anything about him, which I actually really like. That he seems really like.
But he seems like the other, people always mentioned him as like Agatha Christie and him, the greatest. He was highly respected at the time.
Well, because I think his shit was so ingenious. And like,
and I think people loved that ingenious shit. It was
it is amazing. But the other thing about it, so often how much it gets down to the fact that it's really simple. And you're like, oh my God.
Yeah, the best ones are,
all it was the guy walked backwards out of the room.
I could tell you this one, but I don't want to ruin it.
Don't tell me.
It is, again, one of the key things is very simple. Yeah, I love that too. But that's because of the magic tricks of throwing in something in Greek backwards on the butler's hat or something, all these freakish things that are like surreal or something.
It's like a magician who's masterful at the distractions.
It's very magician.
You just don't pay attention. But I do feel like after a while of reading them, you get a little bit trained to see the weird thing that you probably will have something to do with it. You do
I'm sure,
a little bit better at it,
yeah.
Except you still can't figure them out entirely. I mean, like I say, I knew who did it, but I didn't know how or why he did it.
These ones. Yeah.
Oh my God. No. I mean,
he wrote this with Doyle's son. Some of them, the first half.
Oh, that's have you read any of those?
These are the Dickson Carr ones. Yeah, I read some of them. I read 3 or 4 of the stories. They were really good.
Are they good?
They were good, but they were so Dickson Carrian in a way.
You're right.
It was hilarious, yeah.
But
they were also really Holmesian. I mean, it was nice. They're really fast moving. They cut to the chase because they're short story,
Yeah.
mysteries. So they're short story mysteries are always so fast moving. They're just like
They're cool though.
I like that. Yeah,
I like it too.
I want to read some of Christie's ones.
Like I said, I only read those weird ones that I can't remember what the hell they were called. I read a couple of them.
I think she started Marple with stories. I haven't read the stories.
There's a lot of Poirot ones, I think. There's a zillion Poirot ones like that.
But now I'm really into that. This is such a cool edition too. Look at this edition, this green one.
Those are cool. Those are really cool. Those editions.
This is number 3.
Now, have you been reading?
And it has this red edge. Do you see the page?
Yeah.
I can't tell you, when I'm in the morning, like reading this on my green couch, with the red edge page, I'm just like, damn, I'm in class comfort reading right now. That is a comfortable book. It's just like, damn, I've reached a new level of like, I'm now like a level 11 reader. Just like,
I know. When you said that about like, just pause and think that like you're one of like maybe 12 people on the planet right now, that's like just insane first class comfort.
Yeah, exactly.
I've been feeling the same thing, and that since like I just dove right back into reading these things. It's like I don't really feel like reading anything else, and I don't think I ever will again.
I know. I go out, like I read a little Freud. I go out. I have to, but it's mostly for work. I do have to read this. It's like, and I jump back into the.
All I'm doing is reading this. I tell you, the Charlie Chan is amazingly. I think you'd enjoy it. It's so well written, actually.
I've always sort of known. You know how you sort of see books that you would like one day.
It's like super, and it's got a little bit of that kind of like, it's very like witty and kind of like, it's super like, it's really well done, actually. I was surprised. But now, are you reading the Whimsies in Order?
Yeah, which is also, I think, that's also part of my leveldom, because I've never really, it's very rare. The only time I've ever done that almost is, in like trilogies or in Patrick O'Brien,
Where you have to read those.
Yeah. But I think it was up to the last one, and I was like, fuck, I'm not gonna. I just don't want to. I'm not gonna go there again. I got tired of it after a while.
You know of me on this. I've read like.
Oh, I thought you finally got into it.
I did. I've read like 3 of them, but I can't. After a while,
yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know why.
Cool. They're really cool.
Yeah.
I see what's cool about them, but I also think they're some of the most insane things I've ever read in my life.
They are. Some of them are great, some of them.
They're amazing, but they're the most eccentric fucking things I've ever read. They're so eccentric. It's like, I mean, one of them I read, it was like...
They just begin and end when he's like done drinking.
I'm convinced
the length of the book.
I'm convinced he just was writing this thing, and every time he'd go, I'm just going to put this book. And then he's done, because it's like, there's no rhyme or reason to where they start or where they end.
Yeah.
Like, but then it's also like, this one that I read, the whole thing was building to like their mission to like blow up some fortress in Indochina or something. I don't remember where the fuck they were from. And like they're sailing around, and the whole thing is building to this. And he'll spend chapters on like the one dude like finding an albatross egg and like, hatching it on the ship, and then a baby albatross. And then they get to the fucking thing where they finally get to the fortress, and it's like it's a paragraph.
And the book ends,
And like kind of, I know what you mean. And you're like, what the fuck? The whole thing was building towards that. And it's like, it's just, they're so eccentric. It's like, they're just, I mean, they're really like.
There are things I remember. Some of the best parts are the land parts, I think.
Yeah, I know.
I have to say, like, London is so good. It's really like a frontier town, or it doesn't feel like a city or like.
Spain and stuff like that. The searches, they're amazing.
It's all from like the Australian one is really
I read that one. That one was
you could read that one out of order. That one is just so dark.
But he must have been absolutely out of his mind, and apparently he was.
Yeah, the stories about him are bizarre, and
he was like a pathological liar and stuff.
Yeah, I think there's conflicted stories about it. You don't even know what the truth is.
And he knew absolutely nothing about Satan.
Yeah. No, I think he got a lot from reading, authentic narratives.
He claims
because there are great books by like sailors of that era, just their memoir.
Yeah. But he claimed to be like a sailor, but apparently he wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I think he did.
Because it's like, it's not just the technical know-how of it, it's like the actual...
No, but he never had been to the Pacific, and he's writing these beautiful,
Well, he's clearly some kind of crazy genius, but those
No, they're genius.
I just can't. I get a certain point in them, and I'm just like, I can't.
I am the same way. I think I didn't get to the very last. I got them maybe to the third from the.
I think I've written like 5. I think I've read like 5, and I'm just like, I can't. And then I always like want to continue, but then I'm like, but I don't remember who any of these people are, so I have to start again. So it's like I just because they do.
All Killick, the guy that like. There's all the classic sailors that I.
Right. Yeah, all those guys are great, but it's like they do continue. Like you do need to know. Like you can't just jump in.
I have to say the film is great. That was pretty good.
The film is great. The film is great. The film is, and they were going to do more of those. And
they should have.
Well, I don't think it did well enough.
No, it didn't do well.
The beginning of that movie is so great, with where it just goes around the ship.
Yeah, and you see there's so many boys. That's true. There were these
but what's really cool is how noisy it is. Yeah. It's like incredibly noisy, and you're like, right? It would have been incredibly fucking noisy. Like the sound of the water and the ship creaking and all the guys snoring and like shit rolling around. You're like,
that is the greatest portrayal of
that
world that I've ever seen.
Really cool. That guy's an amazing character. I don't think that guy's directed a movie in a long time.
Is that Peter Weir?
Yeah, I think he did a movie about guys escaping from like a gulag or something. That's the last thing. He must be pretty old now.
Yeah, so I'm on book 3 of the Whimsy.
Yeah, so what?
I was about to quit. She's a little right wing or something. So
I think so.
So she got like a little bit long-winded sometimes, like the way John D. McDonald can get in the end of his career, where he suddenly starts just lecturing you about like cities are destroyed. You know, I know that. I'm reading a mystery here, man. Don't like lecture me with your creepy
I kind of love those things in John.
She started doing that in this too. Sorry, but this one it's not like that as much at all. And,
McDonald's just like the Plasticine Highway running past the. It's all just. But I think she was super.
But he'll write a whole essay about kids not understanding. I don't know.
He's right about a lot of shit. Actually.
I know, but I'm reading a mystery, and I already knew that.
Well, yeah, the Travis McGee's get like that.
That's what I mean. Just the McGee's, and only some of the later one. And this was her early one because the next one, this has this old lady couple who are in the backstory who are just gay. It's hilarious, and it's 1927. And like the families kicked them out, but she never really says it. They call them spinsters, but they're like one will never leave the other one alone. It's hilarious, and so that relationship is like the fissure in the people's lives it's not their fault. Like they're heroes,
right?
And there's also a really big N-word like moment, but it turns out it's by a racist, horrible person, and she really comes out on the side of this really cool black character.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool. 1927.
Yeah, she was like a super kind of controversial. Didn't she have like a child out of wedlock?
I actually know nothing about her because
crazy life. I think she had a crazy kind of.
But she was friends with Christie and Carr. Now,
she was in that club.
That's so amazing. They had a club.
I know, it's really cool. And
because he in this one this isn't ruining it at all. Whimsy hires an old lady to be his spy, and it's the same year that Marple started. She's not as cool as Marple, but she uses the same techniques of being an old lady who everyone ignores to like get a wicked information.
They were clearly all just like bumping off each other. Hold on, I got to get the charger, or this is going to run out, or I'm going to run out of juice, baby. The one that I read, what the fuck was it called? Murder Must Advertise. That's the one that I read. I mean, I read one when we were kids, and
Exactly. I did too, and I didn't get it at all.
I didn't get it. I didn't really love it. I was like, there's too much fucking talking and like.
No, it's definitely, you got to have read P.G. Wodehouse.
Yeah.
And Agatha Christie. It's like a melding of Christie and Wodehouse or something.
Yeah.
With a little Dickson Carr in there.
The one that I read was really weird, and it's like, when you get to it, it's super strange, and it's like he's he's like he's almost like a fantastical figure in it.
Yeah, he is almost like a comic book character sometimes.
Yeah, he's not. He becomes literally like, it's really strange, and it's.
I
like,
always thought of him as an old man when I was a kid, but I think he's pretty young in these ones.
I guess I don't know. The one that I have, the entire time. This doesn't really spoil anything in the book, but it's like the first sort of half of the book almost. He's incognito, and he's hiding out, but his name is Mr. Death. Is his like?
Yeah, I believe that because she has really ridiculous. Like one woman's name is like Miss Findlater.
Yeah, his name is Mr. Death.
The names in this one too. I was like, what the hell?
It's really strange, and then he becomes
whimsy too.
But he literally becomes almost. He's almost like this weird fairy. Like it's really,
like an allegory or something.
Yeah, it's really strange, that book.
They're also talk about aristocratic like fantasy. Like he's like a sort of joyous aristocrat.
Like super
saving the fucked up.
There's a lot of weird drug stuff in that one. Really disturbing weird stuff about drugs and weird sexual stuff. And then I did have to skip through the ending, like the last
Oh really?
60
yeah, that's right. I skipped once with her too.
Yeah, the last 60 pages of it were like this endless cricket match. And it just was like, it just went on and on and on and on and on. And it really didn't have anything to do with anything. And I don't understand cricket. I don't know what the fuck she was talking about. And it just went on and on.
But that's also very Woodhouseian.
Yeah, it was weird. I really liked a lot of things about it, but it was really odd. And I don't even think I understood the mystery or the solution to it exactly. It was so strange.
What's it called again?
Murder Must Advertise.
I don't know if I'll make it that far, but this number 3, I'm definitely going to 4.
No, you should. You could definitely.
3 was, I would give it definitely 4 stars, maybe 500 reads.
Nice.
Because it's very, especially this edition with these red pages. I can't. And look, there's a map right there. There's a map.
The red pages are like. I know what you mean about that.
Each chapter has these cool quotes at the beginning of the title. It's just such a fun, comfortable book. I don't know.
Yeah. Those are great editions of them.
It's quite long, so it's not like Christie's can be like you start the book and you're already scared you're going to finish it,
Yeah, no, I mean those.
I hate that. Whereas this, it takes you, you have to really kick in.
It's almost like she's writing these novels and making them crime novels, almost as like a secondary thing.
They're not so much mysteries; they're more crime novels.
Yeah,
they're more like who the guilty party is the whole time.
Yeah.
It's just like, how is he going to frame them? How's he going to get them?
The mystery element of that one I read was like secondary. It was kind of And the Dickson Carr and Agatha Christie are writing things that are meant to be read kind of quickly.
Those are like puzzles, especially Dickson Carr.
That's what's also really cool. You're meant to kind of like take that in fast.
Yeah.
Because it's just this mental exercise.
Yeah, it's like it's made for trained, riders. And
right,
stuff.
exactly. And that's so cool.
I know.
But that's what Simonal did too. It was like, want this to be a thing that, I mean, he was literally deliberately like, I want this to be a thing you read on the train. Like,
this one was quite good at Bertram's Hotel.
I started that one, put it down right before I went off to work, and I forgot to bring it with me, so I didn't finish it. It was
different. It's like there's a noir story in it, and like there's it's a city one. It's Marple in the city, and there's like a backstory that she's not that involved in that's very noir, like almost Hammett style. It's almost like she had read that Chandler essay, was trying to write Hard Boiled or something.
Beginning of that one was amazing in the hotel and everything. It was
it's good. It was really good. I guessed it though. I think it was an easy guess.
It's like all I'm doing is reading this stuff now, and it's like.
But I mean, for acting, it's so good you must have to wait all the time.
It is. I mean, it also like. Well, I mean, I literally had deployed it in this thing I just did. I mean, I was like, I think this character reads mystery.
Oh yeah, now you have one.
We're like, okay, and I was like, and then I found on the set, because they put a bunch of mystery novels in the set that was supposed to be my apartment, and there was this Rex Stout. But I was like, and I was like, I've got to be reading a Rex Stout at some point. So several times it's featured in the thing. I hope
that's so cool.
But it's like, I was just like, Rex Stout would be perfect for this guy.
I'm so glad you're into Rex Stout now.
Yeah. Oh, those are really strange too. Those are really.
But it's so funny how they're so individual, all these different oddities, you know? They're all so different too.
So different. But all these like common traits that give you the satisfaction of the whole thing.
They have their own trait, like Wolf in particular. They're so repetitive. They're so comfortably repetitive.
You
know, like
really idiosyncratic, but they're very eccentric. They're really odd books.
I guess so.
Well, the way the mysteries are solved is really odd.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, it's always he gets the people in the office at the end and then like lays it out until someone reveals themselves.
Totally. But like I said, there's always this crazy shit in those books that I never understand. Although the more I've read them, the more I kind of appreciate it. It's that there's all this time spent on how he's going to get paid. There's all of this
right.
time. I'm like,
you're right.
I will take this registered check and keep it in here. And it's just
so correct. Yeah.
He's like, you will take this tick, you will take this stub from the check, and you will take this stub from the check. At the end of this, you will both give me the stubs. I'm like, why are we lingering over how he's going to get paid?
And then Archie's like, I took Wolf's check in, and then okay, I'm with the check.
It's really
because like Wolf doesn't work unless the bank account goes to.
I know, so he's obsessed with making the money. Yeah. It's like, and it's kind of funny actually.
Because he's lazy. Yeah, and Archie is sort of humorous, the narrator. Like, yeah. No,
they're great.
Interesting, actually, if you think about it, is that those are also influenced by P.G. Wodehouse, and P.G. Wodehouse was best writing pals with Agatha Christie.
And I think was really New Rex Stout too.
I know, and well, those are almost like imitations.
But that's actually really true because all of these people worshipped him, and
I mean,
kind of like even the fucking Charlie Chan seems like, and it's 1924, and I have no doubt because the guy who wrote it was he was like the editor of the Harvard Lampoon kind of guy, and it's like I bet he was like
That's heartening to me. I don't know why. It's just that these great writers were so turned on by plot.
He must have been because it's got that kind of like comedy in it.
Where did they take place? San Francisco.
The one that I'm reading is in Hawaii, which is also really cool. It's Honolulu in the 20s. And it's like, that's really cool about it.
That's that like Nicholas Meyer book, the recent one, which we never talked about in new books. The Cairo one.
Some innocent-looking piece of furniture. Maybe a trap set by somebody long dead. A work either automatically or be set anew by the modern killer. It may be some fresh quirk of devilry from present-day science.
The 19th century kind of Cairo. Yeah.
The crazy, that I still think that sequence in that book with the sandstorm at the end.
That was amazing.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was like, this is one of the coolest things I've ever read. It was so well done. It was really well done.
We got to get him on our show.
We should get him on this. He would probably do it. Oh, and that reminds me too, because I remember I got him to read that H.G. Wells book. I started also, and I've been sort of in parallel with reading these mysteries. I keep picking it up. I'm reading that Mr. Bletzworthy on Rampole Island, which
is that the first alternate reality book?
I think that's what it supposedly is.
I haven't read that one. Yeah, I can never find that. Is that a short story or?
No, it's a novel, and it's
I haven't. God, he wrote so many weird books.
He wrote so many weird books, and it's like in a lot of those.
And it's good.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
Because some aren't so good in the later ones.
No, I know, but this one's great, and it's like.
But I can never remember the title. I already forgot.
Mr. Bless.
Because he also has Mr. Brightling Sees It Through or something.
There's all these things like The World of Henry Clissold and.
So I always that's not the alternate reality one because I once heard of this book.
I think this is the alternate reality one.
Oh yeah.
And but because the guy ends up on this weird island and it's all I think in his head or something.
Oh yeah, I got it.
But it's amazing.
I bet that's online.
You got to read that
immediately.
You got to read that Tono Bungay book.
Yeah.
That book is that's I swear to God one of my favorite novels. It's amazing. That book. It's so fucking great. And it's got everything in it. It's really funny and it's wicked social satire, but it's kind of science fiction-y. And it's really cool.
I read that World Set Free, that one recently.
I've never read that one. Is that good?
I mean, it's just amazing because he predicts nuclear war and everything. It's insane. And then if you read about it, someone who read that literally I forget. It had a huge impact on the development of nuclear weapons.
Like
the actual book did. Like because of that, it was done in secret. You know, like they realized how dangerous nuclear weapons were when they read his book.
Well,
He made it so that it was interesting. Like his vision of what would happen was that there would be a burning fire forever there, like that downtown Paris, Notre Dame would be like on fire, ruined, and you could never go in. It would always be. But it's sort of true, you know, in like a metaphorical way about radiation.
Metaphorical way, it is true.
Yeah, it's kind of amazing. Yeah.
Oh, that sounds good. I have that sitting on my butt because I want to read that one too.
Yeah, it's quite short, I think. I mean, it's not the most fun read, you know. It's just like it's very political. It's as if it's like a newspaper accounts of what the politicians did.
Yeah, right. Those later. I've never read
Star Begotten. That was a bit better though.
You liked that one, yeah. I've read some of the weird ones. I read this one, The War in the Air, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
This was like the whole thing about like air war and bombing.
I predicted that before it happened.
So that's a really cool book, actually. That one is really like.
I haven't read it, but I know it's very respected.
This one is
prediction.
He like. I read this one, Love and Mr. Lewisham, which is just about like
there's another Mr., you know?
Yeah.
That's why I can never. I'm always like, is that the alternate reality? It's Mr.
No.
It never is.
It's good though, because it's just about this married couple, this like young married couple, and their like hardships, and like the guy's kind of like.
But he had this sort of chip on his shoulder about class too.
Yeah, well, a lot of them. Yeah. This one, Bletsworthy had. Tono Bungay is all about like class stuff and everything. But that Love and Mr. Lewisham one is cool because then at some point he gets involved with a phony, his wife's father is a phony psychic. And so it has this funny element of like, kind of like.
I love that. That's like in that in Confessions of a Crap Artist, that Philip K. Dick book that's not science fiction, but there's the one character who's in a UFO club or whatever.
Yeah.
So it gives you enough flavor. Yeah.
I like that book.
That's a great one, man.
But so he always has that element of something like that in them. Except I've never read any of those like super.
Always? He always has a little science fiction.
Except I've never read any of those super. Well, I don't know. I mean,
probably, maybe he does.
Of Things to Come and stuff. I've never read any of those things, and those are supposedly get kind of dry, I guess. But it's like, it does feel like he almost always has some kind of element in them. Good. That's like weird like that.
Because I mean, why be ashamed of the greatest stuff you ever did? I mean,
I don't think he was. I mean,
I don't think so. But he was always trying to like write mainstream novels.
Yeah, but they're weird. They have something weird about them.
Yeah, good. Yeah.
They seem to. The ones that I've read.
Well, they were often politically charged, I think. Like they were sort of about. Often against marriage or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I think he used them deliberately. Yeah, sort of like these teaching tools.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that. I mean, but I think even a lot of the science fiction-y ones.
Of course, that's what science fiction is kind of like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's about ideas more than as much as like expression of the author.
You got me to read Food of the Gods.
Hold on. Yeah, that's one of the top 5 or something of his books, right?
That book was amazing, and it's like that book was the kind of last part of that book with all the like giant children with like,
oh my god, and their depression and like their angst.
They create that weird like medieval culture. They're all in like weird armor and stuff like that, like, and it's like it's really bizarre. It's so weird. It's such a weird vision.
They're like locked in a. They're built into sort of walled in, right? In their
walled in, but they create this kind of like rudimentary culture, but it's like medieval. They're all wearing weird armor and stuff. Like giant furnaces, and they're like making huge swords and shit. Like it's really weird.
It's really strange.
It's really strange. He's just like, what the fuck with those guys? What was with those guys?
That's like that, you know, there's that ballad story about this giant, you know, that washes up. Have you read that one?
Yeah, I think I've read that one.
It kind of made me think of that. I was like, oh, that's where Ballard probably thought of these giant, human bodies.
Yeah.
Because it's sort of like that. They're just these colossal bodies for no reason. It's just like, why?
So weird. That book I really liked it, but it's really like kind of eerie and haunting by the end. It's just like, it starts out kind of funny. with the guys being attacked by giant bees and shit like that.
Yeah. But it's perfect. It gets to be like, I felt it was very profound about like human experimenting with science turning into trouble.
But it's really grim and melancholy.
Yeah.
The Invisible Man is like that too. It starts out like really farcical, and then it gets like really grim by the end. It's just like.
But I think, it's like this great, promising scientific thing turns into this medieval weaponry, giant medieval.
Well, I think they can't. I don't know. It's very. That's how I remember it. I could be wrong how I'm remembering it, but it gets really strange at the end. It's like, what's really cool is it's like. There's this really cool.
Well, they develop a community, which is really weird, and it's like
got this weird.
And it's alien.
It's kind of communistic too, I think.
Yeah.
They all live this like, but there's a weird way that I feel like it's really cool that he tries to. The narrator almost can't capture like the scale of it, of them and stuff. So it's like really odd, like the way he describes them. It's like really strange and alienating and like alien, and like it's really cool. Like they're so they've grown so beyond in size and everything that he can't almost describe them. It's really weird.
I mean, Invisible Man is like savagely dark book about like humanity and stuff.
Yeah, it's really dark.
Some of those books are.
Dr. Moreau. But
Dr. Moreau ain't happy yet.
No, except that book, the last time I read that book, which was probably like 10 years ago, it's much funnier than it's much more sense of humor to it.
It's also sort of like, a parody of these sort of like, narratives of the 18th century islands and stuff. Yeah,
it's like Gulliver's Travels or something.
Yeah, definitely.
In the end, the guy gets back to humanity and he goes to like his bank, and like the bank president looks like a pig, and he's
that's right. Yeah,
like get away from it, and he's like, he goes out, he sees his wife and she looks like a wolf, and he's like like, and it's like kind of comical. It's really
like humans are animals.
It's this like satire thing.
But now every time the news, you're like, they're always trying to do this shit. You're like, God, have you never read Moreau? They're always like,
I know.
DNA and human DNA. And it's like, don't do it.
Growing crazy chickens with like no
exactly
chickens and stuff like that. Yeah, well, no, that's what everybody's crowing about with the vaccines too. It's like, you cannot be messing with God's.
Did you see any of that? There's this Benjamin Franklin show.
I haven't. Have you watched it?
Yeah, I was watching the first part.
I'm in it.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, I'm coming. I'm in it at some point. That's
cool. Oh, John Adams?
Yes.
Yeah. You are John Adams.
I was kind of like, that's
so cool.
I was like,
that is so cool.
I was kind of like, that's really cool. Like, people, I am him in this weird way.
Yeah. Like, and the show is good. I mean, I have to say, it's good.
The show was pretty good. Yeah.
It's
like, but it's like.
But the part I was thinking about was the way he inoculated him. He was totally into inoculation. They make a big deal about that. But then he didn't do his own son, and the son died.
Oh.
And he got the rest of his life. He never got over it.
Why did he not do his son?
Because he had a fever of his own, and he thought that too much, it might have been dangerous, which might have been right.
How did he just intuited that before anybody else did?
People had thought that might be a way. It was already a theory.
Yeah.
And he went along with it.
They actually do it in the John Adams thing. They inoculation for
like the doctors. I mean, you do get a bit of that in the Patrick O'Brien, the doctors of that era.
That stuff is great. I mean,
that's cool.
No, that stuff is amazing.
Their relationship to the patient is so like in that world. They know everything about you. Like no one else knows anything about you. It's just like, wow.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's really true. That's really true. I know.
But then they're just doing the weirdest shit. Prescribing the weirdest.
No,
but but he might have gotten a lot from Franklin's writing or something, because the doctor character, Maturin and.
Well, it totally is like one of those sort of like polymath, I'm like interested in every
member of the Royal Society probably or something.
There aren't really people like that anymore, are there? It's like what's weird is the polymaths now are like Elon Musk.
That's what I was just gonna say. Is he the one? I don't know.
He's the only one of those guys, as creepy as that guy is to me. He's the only one that I'm sort of like, Because the space,
Well, he definitely seems like he read early Heinlein stories or something.
yeah, well, that's for sure. But I mean, the space stuff he's doing is actually pretty legit. I mean,
Yeah.
it's totally legit. And it's like, I watched that whole thing, that dragon thing, like, that was pretty fucking amazing. You know what was really good? Did you watch that?
I did not. Well, I mean, I saw it after. I didn't watch it in time.
Watching it when it was happening. And when they had the footage, the camera point of view of the thing docking into the International Space Station, it looked exactly like 2001. And I was like, that guy,
it's crazy.
Kubrick, like, it looked exactly.
But it was, it was not just Kubrick, it was Arthur C. Clarke,
and it was that
main science advisor.
Well, it was that Douglas Trumbull guy too.
Okay. Oh, I can't find it right now.
I love that you have a fucking book rack like that.
I know, this thing's cool. I got a new one.
Where did you get that?
I bought this, but it was
every time I see you with that, I think about the fact that at one time, I remember I remember this, walking into a pharmacy in our neighborhood in Westville in New Haven. I must have been like 7, maybe, or 8. And there was one of those paperback racks. And there was that William Golding book, The Inheritors, was in the paperback rack. And I just saw that it was about cavemen. So I was really like, and I remember my mother bought it for me, and I tried to read it, and I had no idea what the fuck. Although that book is amazing.
That book is
amazing.
Which is another book you got me into.
That you used to be able to go into a place like that and get a paperback like that, because paperbacks were like so generally available.
Yeah, and
you have to go to
part of culture. Yeah.
It was just a part of culture to buy like Daniel Defoe, to buy like Paul Flanders.
Exactly. Anything in here, these are all books.
Like a really affordable
Yeah,
right. In an affordable paper.
7% solution we were talking about.
For like nothing. That's a classic. That cover is classic. But that blows my mind.
I know.
That's crazy. We used to go to the pharmacy and buy the Hardy Boys books, because that's where I could buy the Hardy Boys books.
In the pharmacy, or Woolworths and stuff, I mean,
Woolworths.
I still like, because I go back to, stay with my mom sometimes, and I go to the old stores, and they have a book section, by the way, and now there's romances.
Yeah, they do.
And I still feel the way I remember. I always harken back. I was like, I do remember when there was like, I can't remember what, but there was like really good stuff there. Like, I don't know, like could be like Flann O'Brien or something. I don't know what.
There was good
what
stuff.
The hell?
There was stuff in those places. No, there totally was.
Yeah.
And it was like
not that long ago. And
but I do that too. Whenever I go to like a Stop and Shop, I go to the like
exactly. Yeah.
And there will be.
There are books.
A lot of it's
and
like
they will sometimes have Shakespeare, or they often have Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde, or something.
They'll have that. They'll have shit like that, and they'll have Frankenstein or something.
Yeah.
And it's like that, or Dracula or something. Yeah. That's amazing. That's so fucking great. That's so amazing, dude. I was going to show you this. Just reminding me of like.
Yeah, show me.
I'll take you to show you, because it just cracked me up last night. I should have actually saved this.
3. It is not murder, but a series of coincidences ending in an accident which looks like murder. Now, at an earlier time before the room was locked, there has been a robbery, an attack, a wound, or a breaking of furniture which suggests a murder struggle. Now, later, the victim is either accidentally killed or stunned in a locked room, and all these incidents are assumed to have taken place at the same time.
Don't the moon look pretty? Shine down through the trees.